Hello there potatoes, and welcome back to another video on my channel. And today I am back with another storytime video. And what I'm going to be doing today is two stories that I've already told on this channel quite a few years ago. But this is before I had this kind of good commentating format. So the way I used to make them was on EasyVid or something on my old computer, on my old laptop. And the quality wasn't brilliant, so I ended up taking those down. And what I want to do is remaster some of the stories, well, not remaster them, just retell them as part of the Storytime series. I thought that would be a good idea. And what they are some ghost stories. So I thought fitting gameplay would be Call of Duty Zombies, and then after that you're watching some Evolve. They're not exactly horror games, but I'm sort of saving playing horror games for Let's Play series because I feel that would be a lot more fun. But anyway, I hope you enjoy the gameplay in the background. And I'm going to start with a ghost story that happened a few years ago. Now, I don't know, recently I haven't had any sort of weird stuff happen to me, but I used to have it happen a lot, and maybe it's just the fact that I had an overactive imagination, but whatever the case is, I have had a couple of things happen in my life that I can't really explain, and I enjoy talking about them because they are weird and they are interesting. So, to start off, as I said, we're going to talk about one that happened about probably 5 or 6 years ago. It was my last year of primary school, I believe, and I was heading out on a school trip for the first time, like as in a school trip that lasted several days, like overnight camping, and it was a sort of an adventure camp type place in this sort of big country park. So you know all the usual stuff that you do at rock climbing, archery, canoeing, all that kind of stuff that you do in an adventure park. That was what basically the ask of this was. It was learning about the great outdoors and all that. That was the basic ask of this trip. And so anyway, the first few days there were pretty normal, you know. I'd say we were there about 4 days total, so not the first few days, but the first night was normal. Nothing really went to happen. We were all really tired after the first day, and you know, many of us, this was probably our first major time being away from home for an extended amount of time. So in that sense, it was new to a lot of us, and there were several people who were pretty homesick. One kid, I think, was like throwing up or something because he was like properly homesick, like panicking, and it was just a wee bit chaotic. But apart from that, everything was pretty normal. And then on the second night, which I think we were even more tired, that was probably the day we went into the mountains, I think, for a hike. Either that or canoeing, I can't remember which. You have to remember this was like 6 years ago. But another boy who was on the trip, he and his roommate, who I can't remember who that was, started talking about seeing a hooded figure during the day. I don't know how they had time to see it since we were out most of the time, but everyone was sort of really drawn into this, and they were really starting to believe it. Well, I don't know if they were all starting to believe it, but it was sort of in everyone's minds now. Everyone was thinking about it. I was talking to a friend about it after we'd all had dinner, and this, you know, it was about dusk at this point. I think it was about May that this occurred, and then we went on the trip, so that means I would have been talking to him about 6 or 7 in the evening, possibly. And so I was talking to him about this, and you know, we were talking about it like, you know, this is a pretty old country park. It has a very old house. The rooms we were actually staying in were old stables, or some people were staying up in the main house, which was even older, probably. The stables had been sort of turned into a shower block, and on the top floor of the stables were bedrooms. But we were just talking about this shadowy figure and if there was any sort of clarity to it. But we sort of chalked it up to probably a bit of overactive imagination. But being who I am, I really am someone who likes to sort of milk this kind of thing, because that's just me, you know. I really sort of like paranormal stuff, which is probably why I have had so many young experiences when I was younger. But anyway, that first night when we were all in bed, it was probably about 10 or something at this point, and there'd been a little bit more talk of, you know, the sort of creepy goings on, but not too much. And so anyway, me and my friend went to bed, and he didn't want to talk about it. I wanted to talk about it. He wasn't into that kind of stuff, so he didn't really want to talk about it. He just wanted to go to bed, and he was bunking above me. So we did, and I'd say about 1 or 2 in the morning, I don't know, because, you know, what I might have thought it was late then was probably like 11 or 12 at night, so if I'm singing 1 or 2, it probably wasn't. But I just remember waking up and hearing sort of a plastic clatter, and I didn't know what it was at the time, but when I woke up in the morning, my bin was knocked over, And it was just kind of a weird thing. And I asked him, my friend up above, had he heard it when it happened. He said yeah. And he had a better view of the whole room because he was on the top bunk. I never sleep on the top bunk because I can fall off. He had a better view of the room, and he had said that he'd opened his eyes a little bit, and he said that the door wasn't open at all. So that was just kind of weird. Like, surely, okay, someone's messing with us. Maybe the guy who made up the whole thing about the hooded black figure he'd seen about probably came and knocked over a bin. But apparently the door wasn't open, and I do believe my friend because I don't remember any light pouring into the room, and the hallway light outside that ran along the whole length of the stables was kept turned on all night, so you would have noticed if there'd been an open door there. So that was what happened the first night, and that was a little bit creepy. But this creepiest thing happened the second night. So by this second day of the whole rumours, things were starting to really get crazier. I still don't know how much I believe the guy with the hooded figure who is now telling us that it had tapped on his window last night. It was basically stalking him around the thing. And you know how, you know, childhood rumours build up into, like, blown way out of proportion. So anyway, this continued until a point where this kid went like full on like mad. He was properly scared. He was like begging the teachers that he didn't have to sleep in the stables again that night. And I just don't know. I don't know if his claims had anything to do with it. But the whole point was we were all fairly certain that something was going on in this whole country park. So anyway, the following night was probably one of the weirdest things of all. And this was the night before going home, and everyone was probably on high alert after all these rumours, you know, properly anticipating anything to happen. And I was just trying to keep calm, you know, I was trying to just not think about it too much, even though I was kind of excited because, you know, this is the kind of stuff that interests me, even when I was that age. And so we went to bed, and again, I'd say about 2 or 3 in the morning, something very strange happened. Of course, might have been earlier, might not have been. My friend was asleep. He again hadn't wanted to talk about it. He's just not into that sort of thing. So he'd gone to bed. And I think maybe it had scared him a wee bit, so he didn't want to talk about it. So anyway, 2 or 3 in the morning, my bag, my rucksack, which would be lying at the foot of the bed, suddenly just flies up onto the bed, and I'm just left sort of frozen, suddenly waking up, realizing this thing's just come onto my bed. Pretty much freaked out. I don't even remember how I got back to sleep that night, but that has to be the creepiest thing that ever happened on that camp, and does make me wonder about the other guy's claims of seeing this ghostly hooded figure. As, you know, do I believe them or don't I, you know, because it's kind of seeming a bit legit now. And so apparently after we went back, after being on the camp, the other group had actually been told a ghost story about this whole place. I don't know what the ghost story was or anything, but it was essentially that the house and surrounding area did have a ghost story, were haunted. And yeah, probably the reason they didn't tell us is because of how like hyper we were, suddenly realizing the 1 or 2 things that happened. So yeah, that was that little ghost story, and now I'm going to go on to another one which is probably even shorter. And this one took part on a French history trip in France quite a number of years ago. Again, another school trip. This one in secondary school, and it is the same trip where I told you, potatoes, about the story of the Coca-Mentos challenge, and that was a few episodes back. And so today's story is about a strange ghostly occurrence that happened on that. So the first hotel that we stayed at, which I talked about in my last video, was a very small, very sort of crappy hotel, 1 or 2 stars pushing it. But anyway, the owner of it had actually died of cancer, which was very sad. There was like a wee plaque about her, but we, like the group I was staying with, about 6 people that I was in a dorm with, had no knowledge of this when weird stuff started happening. The first night, lights would go on and off. There were however, there were lights, touch lights, beside one of our beds, and if anyone touched one of them, they would all go on or off. So that could very easily be explained by someone leaning on it, someone just messing about, anything like that. But that is not the weirdest thing that happened on that trip. The really weird main thing was stuff going on with the shower in that room. Now, the shower was kind of like a complete room on its own. It wasn't just a wee glass thing, because obviously if it's a communal room, then, you know, you don't want people looking at you while you're in the shower. And so the shower and the toilet were like that. And so I remember the first night, in the middle of the night, the shower turned on by itself. And I was sort of kind of asleep whenever this was happening. I wasn't really there. I wasn't really thinking about it. So it was other people who reported it to me. And then the following day, when me and a few of my friends were at a cafe, probably in France somewhere, or Belgium, I can't remember. I think that hotel was in Belgium. We actually remember, we were all talking about it, and we were like, well, something weird happened last night. And then I started to remember, yeah, that was kind of weird. And everyone's like, well, the house is the hotel room is haunted. So that was kind of creepy. And it was that night, when we came back after visiting some mines and stuff like that, some other historical sites, that we found the plaque that said that the owner had died of cancer. So this is starting to all run wild imaginations. You know, I'm a bit older this time than the previous story, but everything's still starting to run wild in my head. So the second night, I say about 3 in the morning, I could just not sleep. I was just anticipating something happening with that bathroom again, and I swear it was just terrifying me. And believe it or not, it did happen. About 2 in the morning, that shower door in that dorm room swung open wide and the light turned on. I don't know if the shower went on or not, but the door was banged open and I was just freaking out. I didn't even look. I looked a tiny bit just to see the light, and that's all I could see. If there was something like standing in there or something, I just did not want to see that. But it was weird because, yes, okay, we knew that the owner died of cancer, maybe that was it, but the entire place looked modern apart from that. So it was just a weird story. That was just a little short one to finish up Potatoes. So thank you. This has been quite a long commentary actually. Thank you very much for watching, Potatoes. I hope you enjoyed these little ghost stories, and I will see you in the next video, which is probably going to be another gameplay commentary. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you have a personal ghost story that you'd like to share in the comments, feel free. But yeah, apart from that, thank you very much for watching, Potatoes, and cheerio.